Good afternoon, viewers in Indonesia and Singapore. Market Headlines is ready to provide you a number of information from the business, economic, and capital market sectors. With me, Wicky Adrian. This is Market Headlines. The leadership of the United States under Joe Biden is considered to be positive sentiment for the world economy, including Indonesia. Economic Observer assesses that after the inauguration of Joe Biden, the trade war is expected to shrink and make Indonesian investment increase.
The leadership of the United States under Joe Biden is considered to deliver significant impacts for Indonesia. Economic Observer Bima Yudhistira assessed that the trade war tension between U.S. and China will decline, so that it will be beneficial for Indonesia's export to the U.S. or as the raw material supplier for China. More than that, a large number of U.S. stimulus is expected to accelerate global economic recovery. Moreover, Indonesia is estimated to have a significant benefit from Biden's plan in encouraging the environmental issue, such as renewable energy.
Terpilihnya Joe Biden ini tentu akan membawa angin segar bagi perekonomian Indonesia karena terjadi pemutarbalikan arah khususnya dalam hal perdagangan di mana Joe Biden akan mengambil langkah yang lebih soft atau lebih halus terkait dengan kelanjutan perang dagang antara Amerika dengan China. Kemudian ada keinginan dari Joe Biden, dan ini salah satu janji kampanye yang paling krusial adalah terkait dengan stimulus yang besarnya lebih dari 1 triliun US dollar. Ini bisa mendongkrak konsumsi rumah tangga di Amerika, dan ini sudah terlihat terjadi kenaikan harga beberapa komoditas yang dibutuhkan untuk bahan baku industri di Amerika Serikat. Berikutnya lagi adalah salah satu yang penting, bagaimana peran dari Joe Biden nanti mendorong isu-isu lingkungan hidup. Ini pada saat yang sama Indonesia sedang gencar memang mendorong relokasi industri-industri yang berkaitan dengan mobil listrik, komponen mobil listrik, dan pembangkit energi terbarukan. Ini harapannya bisa mendongkrak iklim investasi di Indonesia.
For information, on Wednesday 20 January 2021 at the U.S. Capitol, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris was officially sworn in as the 46th President and Vice President of the United States. From all sources, for IDX Channel.
Minister Erick Thohir conveyed that the realization of the Ministry of SOE's budget in 2020 reached 260 billion rupiah. This is equivalent to 97.74% of the total budget allocation.
At the first place, government set 266 billion rupiah allocations for the Ministry of SOEs in 2020. But in the end, the ministry didn't absorb it fully. The ministry used 97.74% of the total budget. Therefore, the realizations of the Ministry of SOE's budget in 2020 reached 260 billion rupiah. Erick said there were three groups of realization based on the type of expenditure: personal expenditure, capital expenditure, and goods expenditure.
Adapun kalau kita detailkan daripada 260 miliar ini untuk apa saja, next slide. Di situ jelas ada 3 kelompok realisasi berdasarkan jenis belanja. Ada belanja pegawai yang terserap 99,42%. Lalu juga ada belanja modal yang terserap 99,57%. Adapun belanja barang yang memang terserap 94-92%.
Meanwhile, for 2021, the Ministry of SOE will receive budget allocations of 244.8 billion rupiah. This means lower than the previous year. From Jakarta, Januari for IDX Channel.
Economic Observer from InDef said that government has to support the domestic steel manufacturing industry in order to avert further domination of foreign manufactured steel in the Indonesian market. Even though the demand is rising, but the domestic steel supply remains low. the domestic steel industry is increasingly depressed due to imported steel from China. Senior economist of INDEF, Eni Srihartati, said China, which is currently oversupplying steel, provides large subsidies to its steel industry so that it is able to penetrate the export market at low prices. According to Eni, Indonesian government must be firm in protecting the domestic steel industry.
Karena ini gempuk baja dari Cina dan juga besi dan baja dari Cina luar biasa murah dan juga memperlemah atau pasti akan menjadi problem untuk produksi dalam negeri kita, maka pemerintah Indonesia sebenarnya bisa melakukan safeguard ataupun kebijakan anti dumping. Jadi intinya adalah ketika suatu negara ini tidak fair dalam perdagangan, maka negara tujuannya ini juga bisa melakukan kebijakan yang bersifat antisipatif atau perlindungan.
Economists assess the imposition of restrictions on community activities in Java and Bali will further reduce people's purchasing power. Therefore, the government is expected to quickly respond to the decline in people's purchasing power by controlling COVID-19 and accelerating vaccinations.
Economists assess that the imposition of restrictions on community activities in Java and Bali will further reduce people's purchasing power. In addition, social cash assistance provided to the community is believed to not be able to increase people's purchasing power due to the current high prices of several food commodities. Economist INDEF Bima Yudhistira say that the government must quickly respond to the low purchasing power of the people with better COVID-19 cases control, as well as the acceleration of the COVID-19 vaccine, which can increase public confidence.
Jadi ini situasi yang kemungkinan besar harus direspon oleh pemerintah. Salah satunya adalah terkait dengan pengendalian COVID-19 yang lebih baik, sehingga masyarakat kelas menengah atas lebih percaya diri untuk berbelanja di luar rumah, kembali lagi melakukan mobilitas. Juga ini berkaitan dengan percepatan vaksinasi. Semakin cepat vaksinasi, khususnya kepada kalangan pelaku usaha kecil, kemudian masyarakat, ini bisa menciptakan kepercayaan untuk kembali berbelanja.
Bima Yudhistira predicts that people's purchasing power in the first quarter of this year will still be able to grow positively in the range of 1 to 2%. However, this growth is admitted still very low. From all sources, for IDX Channel.
Market headlines will be right back after the break. Stay tuned.
Saya kedatangan tamu nih, kasih ide dari pesantren. Bilang kenapa sih kita nggak buat suatu kosmetik yang islami, bagus, harganya bersaing. Sebetulnya usaha ini sukses bukan karena saya ya, usaha sukses kan karena karyawan saya. Tahun 90 saya dapat cobaan lah ya, ujian dari Allah, kebakar habis minus. Kenapa saya bisa bangkit kembali? Yang saya pikirkan adalah nasib karyawan.
Welcome back. The government ensures the availability of the initial allocation of the COVID-19 vaccination budget. The Minister of Finance, Sri Mulyani, explained that the budget was obtained from reallocating the remaining budget for 2020.
The government ensures the availability of the initial allocation of the COVID-19 vaccination budget of 74 trillion rupiah. The Minister of Finance, Sri Mulyani, explained that the budget was obtained from reallocating the remaining budget for 2020. To fulfill the procurement of vaccines and vaccinations in the 2021 State Revenue and Expenditure Budget, the government has budgeted funds amounting to 24.4 trillion rupiah from the health stimulus budget allocation. In addition, there is an additional 47 trillion rupiah left over from the 2020 budget, which has been allocated to support the vaccination program. Sri Mulyani said that changes in the vaccine allocation figures in the 2021 state budget will still be dynamic, considering the need for the whole year can reach 74 trillion rupiah.
Memberikan dukungan anggaran dari mulai tahun 2020 dan terus ke tahun 2021. Kita mengeluarkan lebih dari 637 miliar tahun 2020 dan untuk 2021 ada yang disebut silpa atau sisa anggaran yang kita pass through untuk 2021 di dalam rangka untuk mendukung vaksinasi. Pelaksanaan vaksin secara gratis kepada seluruh penduduk jelas membutuhkan anggaran yang luar biasa sangat besar. Estimasi saat ini mencapai hampir sekitar 73 hingga 74 triliun.
The Ministry of Finance noted that the estimated budget for vaccine in 2021 jumped 26.48% from the previous estimation. At the end of last year, the government estimated the budget for the coronavirus vaccine was only 54.4 trillion rupiah, but was revised to 73 to 74 trillion rupiah. From Jakarta, Raharjo Patmo for IDX Channel.
So how many COVID-19 vaccines does Indonesia need? The answer is 426 million doses. And here I would like to break it down for you. To achieve herd immunity, Indonesia has to vaccinate around 70% of the population. In short, Indonesia must vaccinate 181 million people. These 181 million people need at least 2 doses. Therefore, government will double it up to 362 million doses. However, in practice, there will be damaged vaccines and all kinds of it. Therefore, given an allowance of 15% so that the total need for vaccine is 426 million doses. The next question is, how can we fulfill the needs? The answer is in the next graphic. The first graphic in this infographic in market headline. The first one is, of course, the need for COVID-19 vaccine. Sinovac, Novavax, Covax, and AstraZeneca as much as 426 million doses. And of the 426 million doses needed, government has entered into a supply agreement for a number of global vaccine companies like Sinovac, Novavax, Covax, and AstraZeneca. Of course, along with the support of the SOE Ministry, Ministry of Health and related ministries. First, with Sinovac, there are 3 million doses of the vaccine which has arrived. Then, 140 million doses of raw materials will enter Indonesia gradually. Government also has a contract with Novavax for 50 million doses. And there are additional options for up to 80 million doses. This depends on the availability to absorb or execute the agreement. And also there is a AstraZeneca. Government collaborates with the AstraZeneca vaccine company for 50 million doses, and there is another 50 million doses option in near future. And next there is a Covax as well. Indonesia also received a vaccine commitment from the Global Covax Facility led by the World Health Organization and the Vaccines Alliance, or Gavi, for 54 million doses of vaccine. In the other hand, Bio Farma, a state-owned pharmaceutical holding company, stated that Indonesia has the potential to get 663 million doses of the COVID-19 vaccine, or greater than what is needed, which is stated before, by 426 million doses. But that will happen if only we get full supply from Gavi. Gavi stands for Global Alliance for Vaccines and Immunization. And with a huge need Of course, there is a huge price that we have to pay, right? Well, it is now Ministry of Finance job to figure it out. Recently, Minister has conveyed the funding mechanism. So let's see the funding mechanism with the vaccination in the next graphic. The total budget is as much as 74 trillion rupiah from 2021 state budget, National Economic Recovery Reallocation budget, and 2020 Health Ministry remaining budget and refocus of ministry's budget. And the minister stated that with a very large vaccination budget, the participation of the regional government is very much needed in handling the vaccination program, including the use of the state budget. Therefore, to support the vaccination program, regional government must at least allocate minimum of 4% of regional budget. Vaccination is also carried out based on the criteria and priorities for vaccine recipients, priority areas for vaccine recipients, schedule and stages of vaccine administration, as well as vaccine service standards. And here in the next graphic, we can see the timeline. From January until April 2021, this is the first stage, medical personnel and assistant, support staff, and mates student in health service facilities will get injected. And the second phase, from January to April 2021, National Police, Army, Public Service Officer will also injected with the vaccine. In April to March 2022, this is the third stage, vulnerable communities from social and economic aspects. In April to March 2022, the fourth stage, business actors and other communities. And the staging and determination of priority groups for vaccine recipients is carried out by taking into account the roadmap of the WHO Strategic Advisory Group of Experts and Immunization, as well as studies from Indonesian Technical Advisory Group on Immunization. Also, the government will collaborate with the private sector to cooperate in distributing the COVID-19 vaccine cold chain. One of the companies involved is Unilever Indonesia because it has a supply chain specialist that the governments need. Vaccination is indeed way out for current problematic situation. Even as of January 18, 2021, COVID-19 has claimed 39,000 lives in 11 Southeast Asian countries. More than half of the mortality rate of 65.7% comes from Indonesia. The death rate in the country is nearly 26,000 people. To see the details, let's check it through the next graphic. This is the COVID-19 death cases in ASEAN by 18th January 2021. Indonesia sitting in the position as the country with the largest case of COVID-19 case or death case, as much as 25,987 cases. And after Indonesia, we have Philippines, Myanmar at the third place. After that, we have Malaysia, Thailand, Vietnam, and so on. And this means that more than half of the death rate, which is 65.7%, comes from Indonesia. Therefore, everybody is looking forward to the vaccines rollout. Speaking economically, Finance Minister is very longing the success of COVID-19 vaccines because it can be way out for saving the economy. But then there are basically two types of person, the pessimist one and the optimist one. The pessimist one will see that mass vaccination will take a significant amount of time, and that means that the economic outlook for 2021 will continue to be bumpy for a long time. But then the optimist ones will say COVID-19 vaccination is the real key to sustainable economic recovery. Therefore, 2021 is another big shot. And we hope that vaccination can go well. Hopefully, we'll be living a normal life as soon as possible. And that's all for infographic segment for today. Stay tuned on Market Headlines because we'll be right back after the break.
Saya kedatangan tamu nih, kasih ide dari pesantren. Bilang kenapa sih kita nggak buat suatu kosmetik yang islami, bagus, harganya bersaing. Sebetulnya usaha ini sukses bukan karena saya ya, usaha sukses karena karyawan saya. Tahun 90 saya dapat cobaan lah ya, ujian dari Allah, kebakar habis, minus. Kenapa saya bisa bangkit kembali? Ya saya pikirkan nasib karyawan.
Baik saja tidak cukup, kita harus betul-betul memahami lingkungan bisnis global yang lebih baik, plus di dalam negerinya sosiologi dan antropologi, supaya totalitas kita membantu petani secara efektif.
Kita memang ketahanan pangan, tetapi kita menuju ke kedaulatan pangan.
Ada shadow power yang mendikte pembangunan sektor pertanian bukan oleh Kementerian Pertanian.
We're on the last segment. At the Jakarta Composite Index intraday movement earlier today, JCI was open at the level of 6,476.09. Then approaching the closing time on the first session, the index was on the level of 6,430.05. And then the index was showing a weakening trend by the second session closing time. Index was closed at the level of 6,413.89. In short, JCI went down 0.25%. Next, we're going to see the sectoral movement leading the dynamics of today's trading. We got agriculture as the leader of the strengthening trend that went up 1.7%. This industry went up 1.44%. And we got finance as the leader of the weakening trend, went down 0.83%. Mining went down 0.66%. And moving on to top gainers and top losers. Here are the key highlights from today's trading session. Tints went up 3.06% to the level of 2,360 rupiah per share. Gas went up 1.73% to the level of 1,765 rupiah per share. Tower went up 4.08% to the level of 1,020 rupiah per share. Meantime, Inco went up 1.13% to the level of 6,725 rupiah per share. And this is the top losers. We got ANTM went down 3.13% to the level of 3,090 rupiah per share. BRIS went down 4.66% to the level of 3,480 rupiah per share. BBRI went down 2.04% to the level of 4,790 rupiah per share. And WSKT went down 1.35% to the level of 1,825 rupiah per share. And this is the intraday movement of rupiah towards US dollar. Open at the level of 14,069. Rupiah was also showing strengthening trend towards US dollar. It was closed at the level of 14,024. In summary, rupiah went up 0.22%. The inauguration of the U.S. President-elect Joe Biden is considered to be a positive catalyst for the Indonesian bond and stock market. However, these positive effects are unlikely to be felt in the short term.
The inauguration of the U.S. President-elect Joe Biden is considered to be a positive catalyst for the Indonesian bond and stock market. However, these positive effects are unlikely to be felt in the short term. Anugerah Sekuritas Fixed Income Associate Director Ramdan Aryo Maruto said that Joe Biden's inaugurations as the 46th U.S. President would not have a significant impact on the Indonesian bond market in the short term. Ramdan said that market players will still monitor the policy programs that will be issued by Biden after he officially takes office. According to him, the market put quite high hopes on Biden to calm market conditions. Ramdan predicts that Biden's calmer leadership style will result in optimal conditions for the bond market, both in the U.S. and in other countries. He explained that the election of Joe Biden has received a positive response from the market and is believed to bring more accommodative policies for the global market, including Indonesian debt securities. The catalyst, he continued, would increase the interest of foreign investors to enter or return to Indonesian bonds. This occurred in the line with the increase in global demand and liquidity arising from the stimulus package from the United States. From all sources, for IDX Channel.
And from transportation sector, Garuda Indonesia is optimistic that revenue in 2021 will be 50% better than 2019 revenue. The company relies on its loyal passengers, especially for domestic travel as well as special cargo and charters.
Back in 2020, there was a dramatic drop in demand for passenger air due to COVID-19 pandemic and lockdown measures. 2020 was strengthening the availability of the aviation industry with many jobs at stake. However, there's a big chance that in 2021, that will be normal again. State-owned airline company Garuda Indonesia targets 2021 revenue will be better than in 2020. Even the company is optimistic that it can be 50% better than 2019 revenue, which is before the pandemic. Although some are projecting the aviation industry to recover in 2023, but still, President Director of Garuda Indonesia is not going to change the target. From all sources, IDX Channel.
Barito Pacific allocates $175 million capital expenditure in 2021 for business development. The management ensures that the fund allocation is from company's internal cash.
For business development, Barito Pacific has allocated a capital expenditure of $175 million in 2021. The capital expenditure will be used by BRPT to carry out the drilling program of the geothermal business entity, Star Energy. This year's CapEx allocation is slightly lower than the 2020 allocation, amounting to $185 million. However, in 2020, the company cut the capital expenditure along with the several business challenges due to the COVID-19 pandemic. One of them is the delay of the final investment decision target for the CAP2 plant project by TPIA, which resulted in the reduction of the subsidiary's capex to only $135 million. For information, until the third quarter of 2020, BRPT has absorbed capital expenditure of around $120 million, most of which was allocated for the completion of the construction of 2 factories and regular expenses. From all sources, for IDX Channel.
A step aside from market condition as coronavirus pandemic takes big role on current economic situation. And here is an update data about coronavirus globally. And the news close our market lines today. Please enjoy our next program on IDX Channel, your trustworthy economic, business, and capital market channel. I'm Wicky Adrian. Have a nice evening and stay safe.